No matter how strict a father may be, there is no man in this world who will love you or worry about you as much as he does. I'm going to tell you what happened to me, but before I start, please don't forget to leave a like if you enjoy Midnight Fear stories. My name is Maria. I had been married to an engineer for 2 years named Jack. He worked at my father's factory. My father really liked him because he was a respectable and ambitious young man, and he was the one who suggested that Jack marry me. But honestly, I didn't love him, nor did I hate him. It was an arranged marriage. I didn't really have a choice because my father was a strict man. He was the one who decided everything in my life. Ever since my mother died when I was little, he had been very strict with me. I'm not saying that he didn't love me, but he was overly protective of me and imposed his authority on me to the point where I had no choice in anything in my life. He made every decision for me and believed he was doing the right thing. A few years ago, my father was diagnosed with cancer, and his final wish was to make sure I would be with a trustworthy husband. That's why he chose Engineer Jack for me. Jack was 2 years older than me, but he was a very hard-working young man. He came from a wealthy family, but he couldn't get his inheritance from his father's family. He was an orphan, just like me, and that's why my father admired him. A month after our wedding, my father passed away. Jack wasn't very affectionate with me, and he didn't talk much, but I felt comfortable around him because he didn't make a big deal out of everything, unlike the way my father used to treat me. And of course, after my father died, Jack took over the factory for him. Our relationship was ordinary. There was no love or affection between us, but things continued that way until last Thursday. My husband died. Yes, Jack was dead. During the last few months before his death, Jack had been working late in his office downstairs, on the first floor of the house. That night, I was upstairs sleeping. It was 5 a.m. when I was startled by the sound of a gunshot. I went downstairs to see what had happened. When I opened the office door, I saw the most horrible scene I had ever seen in my life. There was blood everywhere. Jack was sitting on a chair, holding a gun, and it looked like he had taken his own life. But why? Why would he do that? I called the police, and when they arrived, they investigated and confirmed that it was suicide. But no one knew why he had done it. Everyone told me to leave the house, but I couldn't, because this was the house where I had grown up and spent my entire life. On the first night, while I was sitting alone in the house, I heard knocking at the door. It was midnight, and I wasn't expecting anyone. I went to look through the peephole, but there was no one there. When I turned around, I heard the knocking. Again, I was curious to see who was outside, so I opened the door, but there was still no one there. I stood there for a while, but nothing seemed strange, so I closed the door, went back upstairs, and headed to my bedroom to sleep. It felt strange sleeping in the same bed where my dead husband used to sleep beside me. I was supposed to remember him and cry, right? But I didn't feel like doing that, because I never really had the chance to love him. There had never been any feelings between us. After sitting there, thinking for an hour, I fell asleep. I don't remember how long I had been asleep before. I woke up because I was cold. I covered myself properly and continued sleeping. Then, while I was asleep, I heard someone breathing beside me. When I realized I was actually alone in the house, I woke up completely and my body started trembling. I looked carefully around the room, but there was no one there. I took a deep breath and drank some water. Then I heard footsteps coming from downstairs. I looked at the clock. It was 3 a.m., the exact same time my husband had died. I was certain that all the doors and windows were securely locked. There was no way anyone could get into the house, so I slowly got out of bed and went downstairs. My husband's office was locked, so I opened it while remembering the painful memory that had happened there. The moment I entered, the light bulb suddenly shattered, and the office door closed by itself while I was inside. I was terrified and screamed as loudly as I could. Then a dark shadow appeared at the end of the room. It had the shape of a human being, completely covered in darkness, except for its eyes. "Jack, is that you?" But the shadow didn't answer me. Then the lights came back on, and the bulb wasn't even broken. How was that possible? I had clearly heard it shatter. After that, strange things started happening in the house. I could feel that some kind of entity was there with me, watching me. One day, while I was ironing one of my father's old shirts, I suddenly felt two cold hands grab me from behind. My body trembled, and I started screaming, "Who are you, Jack? Are you here?" No one answered me. Then I heard something fall inside the office. I went there, but this time I had a flashlight with me. I found that the thing that had fallen was a book. But when I picked it up, I realized it was a diary. It was my husband Jack's diary, and what I read inside completely shocked me. He had written, "Today, that crazy old manager decided to marry me off to his stupid, spineless daughter. I never planned for this, but the opportunity came right to me. Why not? Then get rid of her and inherit her money. Then I can marry the girl I actually love and finally live my life the way I want. But I need a plan that makes it look like an accident, not a murder." And on the next pages, he had written, "I've already planned to kill her. I could push her down the stairs or start a fire in the kitchen while she's asleep." I was in complete shock. I couldn't believe I had been living with a man for 2 years, sleeping beside him, while he was planning to kill me in any way he could just to inherit my money. As I stood there in shock, I felt a cold breeze hit my face. What was that? I looked ahead and saw the shadow standing in front of me, but the lights didn't go out. "Jack, you're supposed to be dead, aren't you?" But for the first time, the shadow answered me with words I never expected to hear. "I'm not Jack." I dropped the diary from my hands and ran out of the room. If that shadow wasn't my husband's ghost, then what was it? I was almost at the front door, ready to escape, when I suddenly felt 2 powerful hands grab me and drag me back toward the office. I screamed and tried to escape, but I couldn't. I was dragged into the office. Then I heard a voice I knew very well. "I'm sorry, Maria. I never should have married you to that bastard Jack. Dad was wrong." Then the shadow transformed into my father. He was standing in front of me, looking full of regret, and he said, his final words, "I'm sorry, my daughter. Please forgive me." Then my father disappeared. After that, I moved to another place and started getting psychological treatment for what happened. But to this day, I still have no explanation for how my father caused Jack to take his own life, and even after his death, he protected me from him. May God rest your soul, Dad.